everyone can hear me. There's a little noise going on down here, but welcome to the cathedral basement tour, the lower level. The cathedral continues to get renovated, and every day we get to see new finishes go up, which is an exciting part of a project like this. All the heavy lifting is done, and now it's putting all of the pieces together. So we're going to wait a minute while people hop online. So we're going to give everybody 2 minutes to chime in. If you come in midway, you can always go back to the start and watch it from the beginning if you wish. Are we getting any followers?
We are. Go ahead and comment below as you're watching us so that we know that you're here.
Right, and then as we go through again, as normal, if you have any questions, please type those into the comment box, and I'll be happy to answer those at the end of the tour. And so again, I also apologize, it's a little noisy. We still have workers that are working later into the afternoon today trying to get this project finished, and so hopefully the sound won't be an issue. Should we get going?
Yeah.
Who's with us right now?
Helen and Beth are both watching.
Hello, Helen and Beth.
I'm not getting any comments yet that are popping through on my end.
Right. All right, well, we're just going to run with this, and then it'll be on our Facebook page for those who want to watch it later. So hello, good afternoon. Father Castle here, coming to you from the lower level of the cathedral. As many of us know, over the last several months, we have been undergoing a very extensive renovation project of the lower level of the cathedral. For those who are just finding out about this project, you can only imagine that the lower level was really stripped down to the studs, all the carpet was taken out, really taken back to just the bare bones of what was here when the cathedral was built. And we're building it back again with the hope that the space that we're putting together will help us gather as a community. It'll be functional, but also it'll be elegant. You know, for those who want to have wedding receptions or other meetings here at the cathedral, that it'll be a place that people will want to come and use to be close to the Mother Church of the Diocese of Tulsa. And so where we're standing right now is the hiring auditorium. As you may remember, there was a wall that ran across the left-hand side that was the nursery. That wall has been opened, and this room has become quite larger. I think one of the beautiful hallmarks of the vision of the envisioning team back almost 2 years ago was, again, making this room a very elegant space. And so you'll notice on the walls, some very extensive millwork has been put in. If you look close at the walls, it really is a beautiful craftsmanship that has happened here. Every single piece of the wood, so if you can come closer, just to get a sense of the work that has taken place. Every single piece of the wood, so this is a piece, and 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 this is a piece. Every single piece has been hand cut and very intentionally measured and nailed to the walls to create this beautiful woodworking on the walls, as well as you go up and look on the ceiling, beautiful beam work throughout the entire room as well. As that has come to completion, now the hard work and the tedious work of coming back in with a stain color to finish the wood off and to protect the wood is beginning to happen. And so over here on the right-hand side, you can see just the very beginnings of the staining of this beautiful maple trim work that has been done. This is the first day that they are actually applying the stain, and so they've been sanding and cleaning and filling nail holes and all other sorts of tedious work to get us to a point where we'll stain. The stain will go on. Once the stain has dried for 48 hours, they'll come back in and do some sanding, and then they'll put a sealant over the wood again to protect it from moisture, and as well as any sort of food particles or little grubby hands that might kind of touch the wood. So the wood will be sealed and it will be protected, so that way again, it'll last. We pray for 50 or more years for future generations of people to enjoy this space. You can kind of peek out here. You can also see the little service bar area that was put in. They came in with the quartz countertops. Actually, just this morning, the countertops were placed on the top of the bar. You can kind of see again a swatch of the carpet that's going to be going into the room. So this piece of carpet is quite dirty right now because we've been using it over the last couple of months to bring it in, to look at the different finishes, to make sure that everything is matching as it was spec'd. Kind of right down in front of this service bar, we'll have about 3 feet of tile that matches the tile that's in the hallways, again anticipating food and beverages being served from this bar and not wanting those things to drop and to get the carpet dirty right in front of the bar. So having a hard surface that we can wipe up, and that tile will continue on, around, and into the back side of this service area. And then on the wall right around there, kind of in the service bar, will be a new coffee system that will be wired into the water system, so that way we can produce large volumes of coffee for coffee and donuts and all the other parish functions in a much easier way. This door that's there, I like looking at this. You go straight across out that door, that goes into a service door into the kitchen, and so the close access to this service area to a full functioning kitchen will make service in this room very easy. So I'm very excited for just the functionality of this space for, again, coffee and donuts and other social events that we have. And then as we get new tables and chairs kind of down to this area, we will have some kind of walk-up high tables that you can just kind of walk up, set your coffee down, your donuts down, your snacks down, depending on what we're doing in here. And those tables can then be turned into long kind of buffet lines. When we have larger parish events, those can be pushed together and we can put our food line there as we have in the past. So again, I think it's really beautifully coming together. You can see on the ceiling there's a series of can lights that have gone in. The interior the interior diffusers have not been put into the can lights yet, which will help disperse the light in the room even more evenly. And then the holes that are still open is the new speaker system that will be tied into the new sound tower in the closet to the north of the stage. And so we'll have a new sound system that will have wireless mics, both lapel as handheld, and then a new LCD projector that will hang over the stage. And we'll be able, again, to have a pretty high-tech sound system and video system in this room for Bible studies and other sorts of presentations that we might want to do, as well as, again, for those who rent the space for weddings and funerals, we would be able to show different videos and so forth for those events. If you spin on around and kind of look towards the front, let's walk up this way. One of the challenging parts of this project, again, has been kind of nailing the stain color, making sure, again, that we're honoring what the original vision was, but also not getting it too dark, because the darker you go with the stain color, the more kind of compressed and small it makes the room feel. And so many hours have gone into creating mock-ups and different scenarios of different different colors of stain, as well as how the stain is performing against the different wood, against the wood that we're using. Again, the room has been trimmed in maple, and maple, again, takes differently to different stains that are used. And so we've been doing a lot of testing on this mock-up board just to make sure that what we're applying is going to do well, because there's been a lot of money that's been spent on the finishes of this room. We want to make sure that we get the stain perfect before we actually start applying it. So I said my prayers this morning as they began staining, and so far I think it's working out, and it's actually turning out quite beautifully. So I had a little sigh of relief seeing it on a larger scale in the room, and I hope that you like it as well. There's lots of preferences out there in regards to colors and stains and finishes, and so I just anticipate getting a lot of, again, feedback from people's perspectives, but know that we have done our very best in regards to choosing the finishes that we think most honor the feel of the cathedral, as well as, again, the updating of the space. So come on up to the front here. In our last videos, I shared with you that we were able to take the 2 windows that came out of the building in order for the new staircase from the south vestibule into the basement. We were able to take those windows and create a design to sink them in to the right and to the left of the stage. And so these frames just arrived today, and I must tell you, I'm very, very excited on how they turned out. So the framework here, this is original to the cathedral, so the actual interior framing is original, and then all of the millwork around the frame is new, and that has been built in order for it to match the continuous finishes of the room. You can see there's a door here. It's pretty heavy, but Heather can put it there. Yep. this door has been put in because to this door will be mounted almost kind of the size of the door, an LED panel with the right lumens to, again, backlight the stained glass window in order for it, again, to have the beauty of the window shine into the room. And we've been able, again, to use a special LED panel that will light from the top to the bottom, to the left and to the right with one continuous spread of light, so you don't have dead spots of light or darkness within this panel of stained glass. And this, as well as all of the lights in the room, will be on a dimmer system. So depending upon what event we're having, we can adjust the lights from being all the way on to, I think there are 4 different settings that we can bring the lights all the way down to a very low setting if you're doing a presentation and you still want the room to have a little bit of ambiance and for safety, for it not to be completely dark. And so both this window, that window, and then the burning bush window that was where the elevator is now going to let out in the upper church, will all have these new LED technology lights mounted behind those windows in order for us to, again, appreciate the beauty and the craftsmanship of these stained glass windows that are such a part of the heritage here at the cathedral. The stained glass windows that are going in to the right and the left are currently at the studio, the stained glass window studio, and they're fixing some of the pieces of glass that have gotten weathered and a little bit of worn over the years, but doing it kind of maintaining the integrity of the windows. So I'm very excited about how this room is turning out, and I hope you are as excited as I am. It is going to be truly a spectacular place that all of us should be proud of to gather in as a community, but also allowing the cathedral to truly open our arms and to welcome in many people from across the Diocese of Tulsa to different diocesan events and other public events that may choose to come here and use this space as well. So this is the auditorium, so let's go for a little walk.
Just to let everyone know, for whatever reason, I cannot see comments as they're coming in today.
Okay.
So we will go back through any comments that have been made on this post to be able to answer them after the broadcast is done.
All right, so just to give you an orientation, if you were to look down this hallway here, again, that used to dead into where the men's restroom was and into a janitor's closet, which was also the exterior wall. So you can see again that there's plywood that's there. That plywood is covering up a huge hole that was created where those 2 stained glass windows came out, because this will be the new south staircase that comes into the lower church. Again, so they have cut in a wall on the west side of the current south vestibule, and they're going to build a whole new structure off that south vestibule in order to, again, create this staircase that comes down on this north-south axis in the hallway down here in the lower level of the cathedral. Many of you have been asking what has happened to the chapel, and as you recall, the decision was made since the nursery went away over here that we would take part of the chapel and make it into a nursery. And so we've done that, and so you'll notice again that these stained glass windows are awfully dark. Anticipating large crowds being downtown this weekend and not knowing how people will behave themselves, we've decided to board up these windows from the outside. These windows and the windows on the kitchen side are some of the most precious windows from the potential of a large crowd downtown not being on their best behavior. We've been able to put a wall into this room. We've been very, very intentional about putting the wall in to not mess up the ceiling grid, not losing the integrity of the ceiling. That we have not lost any of the ceiling panels. We've kept the current lighting, the spirit that in the future would be able again just to take that wall out and there's been some mixed emotions and feelings about but when you look at the size of our noon mass crowd today, they outnumber what we can fit into the chapel. And our 7 o'clock mass is so small, and we think about you only have so much. And we have a lot of young families that have kids and need places for childcare, not only for masses, but for also parish events. I think this is actually a good staying kind of in the secured nursery area. And so this will turn out to be probably one of the most beautiful. So it'll still have a very regal feeling for our young people to be comforted and taken care of. And so the most beautiful nursery in the Diocese of Tulsa. You can see that the chair rails are going back in, the woodwork that's happening in the auditorium. If you look up, again, new ceiling grids are going in, new lighting. We ended up replacing the HVAC system that's in the ceiling here that was not a part of the original scope, but once the ceiling came all undone, we realized the whole unit had been almost completely rusted out. And so while we had everything open, we went ahead and replaced that heating and air system, which services the chapel, the Halpine room, and the kitchens. And so we're geared to have some really good heating and air systems in place to keep us warm and to keep us cool when we are needed. And you can see again along the ceiling bridge, just as an additional kind of nice finish, a new piece of crown molding has been placed right alongside of the ceiling grid. And so new ceiling grid will go in, stained crown molding and stained handrail for us as well, and new baseboards have gone in. The tile is original from when they did their floors several years ago. There was some flooding that happened down in the basement, and they replaced that tile then, and we've been able to maintain that, and it's still in very good shape. And so that saves some money on this project. And as you can see, we've had protective coating or plastic on the tile to keep it from getting chipped or messed up during the building project. I know many people are very excited about the number of toilets that are going to be downstairs. And so this is going to be the new men's restroom. And so for all of you ladies, this is your one chance to see inside of the men's restroom. So again, we have our nice vanity here with 2 sinks. Again, the countertops just went in today. They're very pretty. Very happy how these turned out. And then over here, we'll have 3 urinals, 1, 2, 3, with little partitions in between, handicap, and then a regular toilet that's here as well. And so you can see that quite a change from what we had before, 1 toilet, 1 urinal before. And so we're going to multiply that and have quite a few opportunities for people to go to the restroom, which we all know when we have large cathedral masses upstairs or large events downstairs, there's always lines at the bathrooms. And so as an act of hospitality, we're very happy to open up more restrooms downstairs. And now for you ladies, you get more than the men. Are you ready for it? You get 5 toilets. That's 5 toilets. That's 5 toilets. You have a handicap one here, and then you have 4 other normal stalls that will be here. And unlike the guys, we just got 2 sinks. You get 3 sinks. And so 3 sink vanity here, the mirror, lots of tile work in order for us to kind of keep things nice and clean. People have been asking what this hole is. This is where the paper towel dispenser and the trash can will be an insert into the wall. And you've noticed that we've installed these little motion detector light switches as a way to conserve energy. People oftentimes don't turn lights off when they go to the restroom, and so this will come on when you walk in, and then it'll time out when you leave. So don't hang out too long because the lights will go out on you. Again, this room has not had a lot done to it yet, just because we're kind of moving from that way this way. And this room, which is the Halpine room, has mostly just finishes that are being addressed. And so there's a lot of sanding that still has to be done on the lower aspect of this room that will get restained. You can see that they put the new ceiling grid in here. This room will have all new can lights again on dimmers and so forth. And up at the front of the room, there'll be a new large screen that's put in that we can have, again, the ability to do PowerPoint projection, PowerPoints and movies and whatever else you would want to put on that. And again, this sound system and the Halpine and the Hiring Auditorium sound system are tied in and can be used independently. They can be used at the same time, and the whole system can be turned on and it's wired into the sound system into the cathedral. And if that's not good enough, we also will have a live that can then be pushed to TV as well as an LCD projector in the auditorium in the event that we are in an overflow situation and need to fill the lower level of the cathedral with guests that are coming to an ordination or to a funeral or to some special event. And so again, trying to think about the best way to be hospitable and host people for the future and have our spaces the most functional that they can be. So again, beginning to take shape with this room, just some finishes, new carpet, and furniture that will match the auditorium. It's gonna get a little noisy in here, my apologies. So you can see that the kitchen is beginning to take shape. As you might remember, there was a wall that came across here, and this was the kitchen, and then kind of all that space where the men and women's restrooms are currently was also a large kitchen as well. And so more or less we have reclaimed space from a very large footprint of a kitchen and have repurposed it to be still a very large kitchen and a bit more efficiently use the space that we have. And so this area, again, you can see cabinets, upper cabinets, lower cabinets, still keeping a serving pass-through into the Halpine room. And then there'll be another set of kind of wire cabinets and so forth that will go into here. And then additional kind of storage there and storage kind of down the middle of this room. As you can see from the placement of the cooktop, the vent top, our stove will go back into here. There'll be a warming tower that we can keep food warm. That goes, I think, to the left or to the right. I'm not sure where it goes. A large commercial oven that has, I think, six racks, large racks you can slide food into, and then we can keep it warm in the racks. And then on this side, sorry to bother you here. Oh, you're fine. Sorry. On this side, the dishwasher will go actually into here, and then we'll be able to have this side of the kitchen kind of for all the dirty dishes, and then clean dishes in the middle, and then cooking on this side. And so the kitchen consultant and different people in the parish who have cooking expertise have been very helpful in us thinking through the layout and the function and the flow of the kitchen, both just from the functionality of it as well as the sanitary side of it. As the kitchen, again, has been completely taken apart and put back together, will now be under the expectation of being kind of monitored by the health department, and so we'll be meeting all of those specs. We've been doing that in the past, but again, with the new kitchen, getting our permits and so forth from the city to make sure, again, that we're maintaining the highest standards of cleanliness and so forth in our food service here at the cathedral. I'm not sure if we can look into here or not. I've not been into the elevator shaft in a while. Might get a little dirty.
That's okay.
Maybe you can go there. Nope. Gotta go in right there. Gotta go on an adventure. All right, so depending on whether you've been in all these interviews or not, or these walkthroughs or not, so much has changed in here. And so again, this was the staircase that came down. The stairs came out, it was a pile of dirt. The dirt came out. We found a footing that came across here. Keller, which is a excavation company out of Kansas City, came in and did some pretty heroic work in regards to the excavation of this shaft. And so we can come a little closer. So ultimately, if you saw them before, it had these large pylons down into the earth and these big brackets holding on to the side of the cathedral. So we've come back in and they've re-poured the stem walls and the footings up under what was excavated. All of that passed the concrete test. It had to sit for 7 days for it to cure, and then they were able to come back in, take those brackets off, take the piers out, finish the concrete, and they have begun, again, as you can see up here, the masonry work with the cinder blocks, which will again become the actual elevator shaft, in which the elevator will go up and down for the 3 stops, which is here into the cathedral, there into the south vestibule, and then here on the lower level to service the auditorium, the restrooms, and the Halpine room kitchen. You can see up here to the far right, you can see again the opening that's been cut into the brick, which will all be finished off with wood trim and so forth. That will take you out into a new structure that will be built on the west side of the cathedral, and then the new staircase that will be built that comes down into the lower level that we have been walking through. You can see the walls going up again. That will be the wall that comes down out of the staircase. The first set of stairs coming out of the cathedral, a new wall will go there, and then the whole front of the elevator will be trimmed out in the same woodwork that you saw in the hiring auditorium. Will be stained with a similar kind of window setup as we saw on the right and the left-hand side of the stage, with the window, the burning bush window that was up here, where the elevator is going to let us out into the cathedral. That window will be kind of sunk into the front of the elevator shaft, backlit by those LED panels, kind of with that continuous lighting top to bottom and right to left. And so they'll begin building out the shaft up, and then as things progress, at some point the elevator will come, and this is where we will ride up and down between the 3 levels of the cathedral. All right, let's go outside and look at the stained glass window project, because it's pretty awesome.
Thank you, Father.
I'm sending more and more of my clothes to the cleaners these days as I'm coming down in here ruining my pants.
Thank you.
All right, so for the sake of reference, if you can, again, look up here at these current windows, so that's the resurrection window and those so forth, and you can see again the current storm window system that's on the cathedral, which, as we've kind of looked into this, we think it's 40 to 50 years old that it was installed. So aluminum strips were put in, and then actual heavy glass was installed into those strips, and then it was silicone. They used silicone to kind of seal it into the windows. And you can see again that some of these windows are different colors. Some of them are kind of yellowed. Some of them have some moisture issues inside of them. And over the years, what's happened is the caulking has failed, and even some of the windows have begun to actually pop out and slide down the roof line. So they become quite dangerous. And also, the system is failing, which is not good for the preservation of the wood as well as the actual glass and the leading in the stained glass windows. And so it's been very important for us to take this project on. It's about a $320,000 project. There are 93 windows, and so it's quite an extensive project that we're taking. So just to kind of see what's been in place before you see what's now in place. So let's go for a little walk. Exterior portion that's going to be built again to receive the south staircase is coming up with the cylinder blocks. And this will have the same brick finish, the veneer, as the cathedral itself right now. So we have found brick that matches very well the outside of the cathedral. They're also putting a stem wall in. One more thing to support the aisle here. Can't really see them, but in all the window wells we have dug 3 foot by about 2 foot new holes. My technical construction language has left my mind. New kind of water pits where new sump pumps will be put in on the south side of the cathedral, and then we're also going to do this on the north side of the cathedral because so much water runs. This is kind of a secondary catch in the event that the water that's going into the new underground drain that's running down through here, which you can see kind of as they've stopped digging it right there, that drain will come all the way up. All of the water runoff from the roofs from the school and the cathedral will now go underground, but in the event it's a really heavy rain and water still comes into these window wells, they have these pits now that will catch the water and larger sump pumps to push it out to prevent any flooding from happening in the basement. So here is the window project in process. So they've taken out the old and they've come back in with a bronze finish that will match, again, as you can see, all of the other finishes around the cathedral, the trim, the guttering, and the roofs are all this kind of bronze color. And so when you paint the actual trim of the windows, that bronze, it really allows the window to speak for itself. And the way that he is putting the new framing in for the storm windows, he's taking the painstaking time to run the actual trim that will hold what is now plexiglass, vented plexiglass, kind of a high endurance plexiglass. He's running the frames along the actual wood structure and then kind of bending it to kind of match the arches on the windows, and then cutting the plexiglass into those different contours. And that trim, unlike a piece of the aluminum where you can see it, that trim is also the same color of bronze. And so ultimately with the finished product that you end up seeing is you don't see the trim anymore, and the windows really do kind of stand out and speak for themselves. And so again, if you back up to the best of your ability, you can see these top windows have already been done. And so what a difference. You no longer see the trim. It's one continuous piece of plexiglass, and it really allows, again, the integrity of the window from the outside to be appreciated, because the plexiglass is so clear. The trim is not getting in the way, again, of the beauty of the architectural integrity of the woodwork, and also of the glass. And so we're very pleased, as Oliver standing over here by this big crane. He is working on this project. It's going to take about 3 months to work through all the windows. I had the opportunity to get in his boom and go all the way up and get close to some of the work that he was doing, and it really is a craft. He is a master at what he's doing, and so we're very happy that he's here. Right now they're coordinating when he's moving his vehicle, because they're trying to get this work done, which is some of the curb that's going in to keep water from approaching the cathedral. And so it is a dance around here with equipment as different pieces are getting done at different times, and different contractors are working on different projects. There's a lot of communication and a lot of strategy. And so yes, so I'm very happy again to show you the beginning of the window work that is quite exquisite, and very excited to really get this finished, because you can just see the difference in how clean and crisp and renewed the outside of the cathedral is going to look with this window project getting done. So not only is it preserving the gem of our windows, but as we power wash the cathedral, as we do the tuck pointing at the cathedral, this will just kind of be that icing on the cake of making the outside just really shine and be preserved for many years to come. So with that, it's hot. It's really hot. I am going to sign off, and again, if you have comments, Kathleen or I will answer those for you. Thank you for your continued interest. Thank you for your support. Those who have made pledges to this campaign have been very generous in fulfilling those. And if you've not made a pledge to this campaign, we would still welcome your generosity. We're still looking for around another $300,000 is what we need to be completely in the clear. And so if you have not made a gift and wish to make a gift to the cathedral, we would love to receive that. Also good news on the matching. We have been able to secure all the money that was necessary for the Catholic Extension's matching grant that they issued to us. And so if we raised $50,000, they would give an additional $25,000. And so we're very happy that many generous people stepped forward to make those gifts, both very large and somewhat small, but every single dollar counts and goes towards making this project a possibility. So anything that people give is appreciated, and it goes to good use, again, in the preservation of this beautiful cathedral church